Okay guys, the time has come. Time to get this head back on the engine. One thing I have to do, or we have to do, before it can go in. You can see we got a stud that broke off here on the exhaust. We got lucky with all the other ones. They come out with some heat. This one, I don't think we put enough heat on it to get it off, and it broke off. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to weld a nut onto the stud. We'll let that cool off. Then we'll heat it, and we will turn this nut. Should be able to get this bolt out. Hopefully it'll be that easy. We'll see, I guess. Okay, so the bolt didn't want to come out, but finally it did. So getting ready to actually drop this thing on the engine, and what I'm trying to do right now is trying to find top dead center on the motor. It's easier to do that when I can actually see the piston all the way at the top here, number one. Okay, so there's supposed to be an easy way to do this. There's what they call a timing pin right there. Right there. And you're supposed to be able to push that in to a hole in the gear on the camshaft. And it's only supposed to go in when the motor is at top dead center on the compression stroke. Reason I need to know that is when I drop the head on and put the rocker arms in to adjust them, I need to know where top dead center is on the compression stroke to adjust everything correctly. So like I said, I'm trying to do this before I drop the head on because it's easier, because like I said, I can actually see that piston is on the top of its stroke. Bad thing here is I cannot get the pin to go in no matter where I put that piston. The piston comes up all the way to the top twice. One in the compression stroke, one on the exhaust stroke. So there's two positions that you can have that it could be top dead center, and I can't find it. So what I'm having to do now is there's 2 bolts that hold this pin on. I'm going to take them out, pull this thing out, and actually look in there and find the hole that is supposed to be top dead center. For some reason the pin won't go in. I don't know if there's something wrong with the pin, or somebody pushed the pin in and they didn't release it or something and they snapped it off or something. I have no idea why this won't engage on top dead center. So I'm about to find out. I got these bolts out. They're T25 Torx bits, and I'm about to pull this thing off and find out what's going on here. Okay, so good news is I found top dead center. You can see, maybe I can zoom in there. Right there, there's a hole in the gear on the camshaft. That's where this thing goes in. So that hole's there for the timing pin to go into. The piston, number 1, is top as far up as it can go. Bad news is the pin. Here's the pin. Somebody broke it. There's supposed to be a little pin sticking out of that, and it's supposed to go into that hole I just showed you. You push it in like that. It's supposed to be able to find top dead center by just pushing this pin in. Clearly somebody's broke this thing. This feels like plastic. This pin. The deal is steel here, but this pin I believe is plastic. Some sort of a plastic. So, gonna need a new one of those. This is how you, I believe, time the injection pump if you ever change it out. And there's other uses, I believe, for this timing pin, so you can find top dead center on the compression stroke. So I can install the head and everything because I know where the top dead center is. I've got it marked now. I got some marks there on the pulley there, the crankshaft pulley. And if you rotate that another 360 degrees all the way around, the piston's going to be on top again, but that's not the compression stroke, that's the exhaust stroke. So right now we're at the compression stroke, which would mean on the number 1 cylinder that the valves are closed, and it's going to compress the air fuel mixture, and then it's going to explode, and that's your power stroke. And then the next time it goes back up and down, it's pushing the exhaust out, and the exhaust valve is open. And so forth down the line they go. But when you're assembling an engine, top dead center is pretty important. You need to know top dead center on the compression stroke, where that's at. So I guess I'm going to have to find a new timing pin there. And but I guess I can continue installing the head here. I'll order the part. Hopefully it'll get here before we need to, or before we want to start this thing up, fire it up. Okay, so here's the new head gasket. I'm going to lay it down on the block there. Looks like pretty good quality to me. You see it's got steel around the cylinder walls there, and it's a fairly thick gasket. And it can only go on one way. Okay, so I got the gasket on top of the motor here. This only goes on one way. You can see it's kind of notched out on this side. This side is not. and the dowel pins right here. These holes here are the only two holes it's going to fit in. The other ones are too small. So this gasket only goes on one way. There's not an upside down, or you can't flip it upside down. You can't flip it anywhere else. This is the only way that gasket goes on. So we are actually ready to drop the head on. Okay, so I got my head up here. You can see wasn't easy by myself. This thing's about 80 pounds, and you wouldn't have wanted to see me struggle putting this up there anyway. Got my head bolts here. Kind of made a cardboard deal so I know where they go. There's not that many though. I probably could have remembered where the short ones went and where the long ones went. Before you put them in there, you're gonna want to put some oil on the threads. Okay, I got all the bolts in there. The ones, except for there's one on each rocker arm that is a head bolt too. That's probably what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take these and take them individually and clean them up, so I can, there's a smaller bolt and there's a bigger head bolt in each one of these. So I'm going to probably clean these all up, and then we'll start dropping them into. Okay, so I got them all cleaned up, all the rocker arm assemblies, the bolts, push rods, all cleaned up here. So I'm going to start first by dropping in the push rods, and then we'll drop the rocker assembly on the head. Okay, we're going to start dropping the push rods in place. I'm going to put some oil on these. I'm going to put some oil on the top of the valve stems. You can kind of feel when you get them in the right spot. They're on a nice ball socket, so they spin real nice. These are going right back where I got them. I got them set up on the table there, exactly the way they come out. So these are all going back in the same. Okay, last one in. Probably gonna get a flashlight or my light. Make sure all of them are seated. I'm pretty sure they are though. Okay, next I'm gonna drop the rocker arm assembly down on here. I've already got everything oiled up, so these should just fall right on the sockets there. And then I have to back the adjusters off here because I got to readjust all of them. So I got to back these out and then drop my bolt. And there's two bolts that hold this on. One is a head bolt that holds the head down. I got to torque that with all the rest. And the other one's just a smaller bolt that holds down the rocker. Okay, so I got all the rocker assemblies in place. The adjuster nut I was talking about is right here. It's got an adjuster here and then a jam nut that jams it, locks it in place. All those are loose. You don't want none of them tight right now. Next thing to do, now that I got all the bolts kind of hand tight in here, all these bigger bolts need to be torqued down in a sequence. And I'm going to show you that next. Okay, so we're now ready to torque the head down. Basically, right now we're torquing all the big bolts. We're not touching these little ones on the rocker assemblies. You got to torque these in a sequence, starting with 66 foot-pounds. We're going to start in the center and work our way out in like a circular pattern. This is pretty common. I believe most manufacturers want you to torque your head from the inside, work your way out. That's the way it works. So that's what we're going to do. If I can find the right socket here. I need 18 millimeter. I don't know if that. The radiator's in my way. I need to be over here. Okay, should be all of them. Don't believe I missed any. Okay, now that you got all of them torqued down first sequence, basically what you're going to do is you're going to go through the sequence again, rechecking at 66 foot-pounds. Okay, the next sequence that you're going to do, basically now they're all at 66 foot-pounds. You're going to take the long screws, which are the ones that are holding the rocker assemblies. There's 6 on the 5.9, there's 4 on the 3.9 here. And these are going to 89 foot-pounds. Alrighty, now that you've got that done, you're going to go through the sequence again, starting in the center, working your way out. Then you're going to turn all the bolts another 90 degrees. So they have a fancy tool that you can get where you can turn a bolt and it'll show you the degrees that you turn it. I'm just going to kind of start it at a place and then turn the wrench 90 degrees. So I don't have the fancy tool, but you can achieve the same thing by taking your time and just making sure you're turning it only 90 degrees. Anyway, I'm going to do that and shut the camera off. I burn a lot of memory and I don't have that much memory left, so I'm going to do that and we'll come back. Okay, so I got them all turned 90 degrees or close enough. I actually, when I went through and I did these, I marked them as I did them And as I did the circle pattern, I marked each one. And then I kind of eyeballed what 90 degrees would be. 90 degrees is basically a quarter of a turn on the bolt. And actually, the torque on these must be fairly high. I had to use a breaker bar, and then I added an extension onto that and still had to give it everything I had. I don't know if it's because I'm up here on the pallets and I can't get no leverage or what, but I'm not a very big guy either, so I don't have any torque in my gut, so I got to use all my muscle. So now I guess in the manual they're calling if you want to do an over check. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but what they want you to do is set your torque wrench to 102 foot-pounds and basically do the pattern again and make sure that none of the bolts move at 102 foot-pounds. I'm pretty sure that all these bolts are well over 102 foot-pounds according to what I had to do to turn them. You know, you start adding this length and that's a lot of torque on a bolt. So I guess I'll run through and see if any of these will turn at 102 foot-pounds. I don't think they will. But it says, and then the manual says, if one does turn before it clicks, basically loosen it all the way up and then go through the sequence again on just that bolt. So basically you would go to 66 foot-pounds and then 90 degrees of turning. I guess on these ones here, if these are loose, which there's no way they can be under 102 foot-pounds, but if they were, you loosen it all the way, go 66 foot-pounds, 89 foot-pounds, and then 90 degree turn of the bolt. So I'm going to run through, try the 102, come back, let you guys know how it went. Okay, so I just did the over check that they said. They all felt okay. Last thing I did was I torqued these bolts to 18 foot-pounds, the small bolts. Now I'm ready to actually adjust the rocker arms. But I'm going to end the video there, guys. Next time we'll start, like I said, adjusting these rockers and more buttoning up of this 3.9 Cummins.